In the name of the one holy and undivided Trinity, amen. Please have a seat. You know, we're told in leadership development for clergy that once a year, at least once a year, we should deliver a sermon that is essentially our I have a dream sermon, like the real big picture, widest possible, most outrageous hopes for the congregation sermon. So I thought annual meeting day is probably a good time to do that. We're all gathered together, everybody's here. However, I've only been here 3 months, so some of these things are going to be sort of shots in the dark or possibilities or hunches. I could be entire galaxies off base, which you are welcome to come and tell me. And also, I'm sick. I got sick. So this was I had all these big dreams about this being kind of a barn burner. So this is a barn burner doused by NyQuil. Who knows? Maybe the Holy Spirit was like, you need to take that down a couple notches. Who knows? And so I don't know. I had a lot of notes for this, but I've spent most of the past 48 hours asleep. So I don't know how much of that is going to make it into this sermon. Neither you nor I knows exactly how this sermon is going to go. FYI, we're just I'm gonna throw out some ideas. So I have this little run that I do from my front door to the far point of Gasworks Park. And when I do this run, on the way there, I'm just pounding. I'm just sorting through everything that's going on in the congregation and what the texts are for this week and what's happening and who's mad and things that are happening with my friends and blah, right, sweating it out. And I get to that far point, and you know it, right? Where you can look at, and you're looking out on Lake Union, you can see the whole city, and I'm spent a little bit by then. I look at that whole city, our city, and I take a breath, and I say a little prayer for everyone in our city, and I recommit. And what I say to myself actually is, I am responsible for you. I'm responsible for this place. As a Christian, I'm not allowed to say that all the people that I can see going up and down the Space Needle and along Mercer and looking out their windows on Queen Anne Hill are not my neighbor. They are. They are our neighbor. And when I run back home, something in me has shifted about my problems and my anxiety and my fuss. And I have placed myself back into perspective, into relationship with God and the people around me. And that is the fundamental position that I come from as your rector as well. That this place and what we do here is in service. We are responsible for those around us. We make that promise in our baptismal covenant. There's actually a wonderful saying from the Jewish tradition that goes something like, "It is not incumbent upon you to finish the work, but neither are you at liberty to desist from it." It is not incumbent upon you to finish the work, but neither are you at liberty to desist from it. I think that's a pretty good statement about how we are. And as far as I can tell in these first few months, you are a congregation that is very well-read, open to new ideas, and concerned with the welfare of the world. And it has seemed to me like you're just ready to start thinking about what you might be able to do as a congregation and a voice in this city, as people who care about big issues. That when I talk about things that are large-scale issues with folks, poverty, exploitation, race, schools, I keep seeing people in the congregation sort of light up, like, maybe we could do something. Can we do something? Is that us? And I think there's no reason for this place not to be locally and nationally known as a place that keeps the poorest of the poor at the forefront of our prayer and consciousness. This doesn't mean that we become involved with every single issue everywhere ever. This also doesn't mean we become a congregation of strident, yelling activists, though one or two of those never hurt. They keep us honest. But it does mean that we learn how to keep sustained prayer and attention and presence on the largest issues we're facing, predominantly massive, large-scale impoverishment. It does mean that we might become a place where we study for the long haul the complexities of social issues, realizing that anything we engage with is multifaceted, and once we start pulling any string in that web, the whole thing starts to shake. And it means we're willing as disciples to have our deep assumptions about how the world works shaken. And it might mean we're willing to put our bodies where our gospel is. This requires steadiness in the faith, which you have, and a good deal of self-knowledge. It also requires a profound amount of trust in one another. I'm going to cycle back around to this justice piece, but I want to talk about how we build that trust as a community. I would like to see us become an organization that knows what healthy conflict looks like and revels in it, where there's joy in being in the presence of someone who you know and love and who thinks you're completely wrong. I would also like to see us be a place that recognizes unhealthy conflict, that is not tolerant of bullying or gossip or abuse or manipulation. I would like to see us hold each other accountable, not in a defensive or one-up way, because we're certainly all fallen, but in a way in which we all know where the line of acceptable behavior is, and we say something when it's crossed, and where we back each other up in that. We build trust by taking care of each other, too. That happens in thousands and thousands of ways every week around this place, but mostly informally, which can be difficult if you're new, to know how to access care if you're not already connected to a web of relationships or people within the parish. I'd like to see us build a pastoral care infrastructure that's a joint effort between lay people and clergy with the aim that no one who walks through this door that has a need falls through the cracks. No one gets lost. If you've ever seen Lilo and Stitch, family means no one gets left behind or forgotten. I'd also like to see us get off campus a little more and be with each other in ways where we're not getting anything done. Or we go hiking, or we go dancing, or we go partying, or we let loose a little. Lots of folks here are very serious about what they do and very conscientious and very thoughtful, and all of that is a gift. And it also means that we have kind of a hard time celebrating. Sometimes I'll just stop in a vestry meeting and say, this is great news. Let's celebrate it. And everybody looks at me like, I don't know what we're supposed to do now. What does that look like? So to build a little laughter into the system and celebration where you can really congratulate yourselves on what you do well. We build trust too by worshiping together with beauty and reverence. We practice in movement this ancient liturgy, and the deep rhythms of it give us the grounding we need to be able to play with new ideas and engage with our world and hold our leaders accountable, be present to the suffering of the most hurt, and advocate for those who have left behind. And sometimes in yoga, we talk about this as rooting down to lift up, right? You root down to lift up. And this is one of the ways that I'm so happy to have landed here, because this is exactly the place that I'm in, where I love this ancient tradition we have, and the steadiness of it, and the comfort in it. And that gives me the base from which can go free, can entertain the ideas of the whole world without losing my faith or who I am. I would like to see us become careful and strategic about our energy. I can't recommend a church system where everyone's burned out and thinking, really? You want us to do one more thing? Our energy is finite. Stewardship means committing where we really want to commit, and that takes discernment, which is a slow process. It means thinking about which ministries are truly necessary to what is essential to us, and which just exist to make us feel like we're doing something. It means looking at how many of our ministries exist to entertain ourselves, and how many exist to serve the stranger and the outsider and the other. In doing this work, we are both blessed and constrained by our physical plant. This space is so pretty, and I soak it up along with you every week for spiritual nourishment. And it's not accessible. As a congregation, this is something that I didn't read in your profile or hear you voice anywhere, but I have noticed you are remarkably gifted in being present to people on the spectrum and people with disabilities in general. Churches are generally very hostile places to people experiencing disability. I have never been someplace that is so warm and willing to say, oh, what is your need? We'll work around it. We'll work around it. And to have the language for that, and to have that be easy. I suspect that gift of presence would extend to physical disability should we have a building that could house anyone with significant physical disability. I have no answers about how to fix this. I keep hearing all it takes is money. But I do have for us, thinking 10, 20 years out, an intense desire for this space to be accessible easily to all bodies, no matter what. The life that the gospel calls us to, where we are in consistent, prolonged relationship with the least of these, isn't one more task on top of a list of tasks. It is the only task. It is our life. It's our only hope. And everything we do on this campus faithfully and with great love, and the list is long, feeds us for that discipleship. It includes things like taking care of the buildings and the money, but those are not ends unto themselves. We do them so we have the peace of mind and the stable base from which to move, to seek the heart of God in all the hidden places of this city and this world. We have been gifted with each other and with a neighborhood where need is visible, both within us and outside us. I believe we have precisely the people and the resources we need to meet those needs with joy, with friendliness, with excitement, not in a frenzy that leads us to burnout, but with steadiness of heart, with patience and with confidence. We can do it. Will we?